from significant. This is Crack It in an Hour.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. I'm Simon.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Roman.
And if you watch or listen to the show, you know the deal. It's one problem to crack in 1 hour once a week. And two of us know nothing about the problem to crack. And one of us is going to bring a brand new problem. And that person this week is Roman.
It's me.
You're the problem maker.
I am the problem maker today, and you guys will be the problem solvers.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Let's hit go on the clock. All right, let's go. So today we're going to talk about something that is a true American icon, which may or may not have been invented in America, actually, but I do think it has.
Are we going to get to guess?
And why not, actually? What's a true American icon that's been falling apart in the last decade and that people are trying to make sense of?
Is it an object?
Yeah, it's not a human. It doesn't have.
But
life.
it's not like an industry.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cigarettes?
No.
The Statue of Liberty?
No. I mean that would be a tough episode.
An American
We're going to be
icon.
talking about the American Mall.
Oh, malls. Okay. All right, cool.
And can we find a way to make it matter again? Like, I've been wrestling with that topic for a while. Sorry, I don't know what to do with my phone. Okay, I'll drop it here for the timer. Because part of me loves it and part of me thinks it's good for small businesses that it's not doing well. But I decided to bring it. So there were like 1,400 malls, probably like early 2000s in the US, and you have like half of that today. Many are like very low occupancy, trying to find a reinvention, a new chapter in their lives. You have about 200 of those that are considered dead, with 70+% empty, like empty retail space. The anchor store is closed, and you're beginning to have non-retail tenants that are taking over the mall. That's really interesting. We're going to get to talk about that.
So like offices.
I'll get to it in a second.
Okay.
There's some surprising things that I was not anticipating in that bucket. Yeah. Foot traffic dropped 50% since 2010. That's not a surprise given the numbers we just talked about. Chicken and egg situation, but the anchor stores collapsed. So Sears, JCPenney,
I have a lot
Macy's,
of thoughts on this one. I have takes on this one.
That's awesome. I love it. Simon has a lot of hot takes. Put a pin on that.
Put a pin in it.
And there's been like a bit of a TikTok fueled resurgence from my limited research, but it's more for content than consumption. So if you look at the history of malls in America, it was in the 50s that it started coming up and then exploding through like the back half of the century. The idea was to recreate a walkable town square, but inside it was to serve as proxy downtowns in suburban sprawl.
Yep.
So it was retail and social life bundled together. It obviously served like the booming suburbs post Second World War.
Yeah.
And at some point, I think including, you guys tell me, but including for our generation, like in the 90s for teens, it was literally where kids were going to hang out.
Totally.
100%.
So should I go into what went wrong or should we just start talking?
Do it. Let's hear. I'm curious to hear what.
Some of the high level reasons?
Yeah.
Where did it all go wrong?
So where did it all start falling
Overbuilding.
apart?
So saturation.
Classic.
There were like, at some point, some towns had 2 to 3 malls for towns of about 30,000 people, which makes no sense.
Yep.
We talked about the anchor store implosion. Obviously, e-commerce has exploded. Amazon, fast shipping, the acceleration of like, click to door, especially in the last 6 years since COVID, it's been accelerating a lot. like the improvement of UX logistics and all of it.
The shop app. Love the shop app.
What's
Exactly.
what?
The
Do you guys
shop-
have the shop app?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
What's the shop
Yeah,
app?
I don't use it, but I have it.
Oh.
What is it?
It's like kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a portal that also tracks all your shipping, but you can also purchase stuff through it. And it's just all in one place and you can know where everything is and when it's coming and all that. It's just,
I'm
This
90
episode sponsored by Shop App.
I'm 90% sure your data is in shop.
probably is.
Because a lot of e-commerce
Yeah.
use shop as
On
a
the back
checkout,
end.
as
Yeah.
a checkout
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
So- and,
Yeah.
and it's really convenient.
It's
you get
super
there and
convenient.
suddenly everything's populated.
Everything, like
Click.
literally the second you order something, it pops up in the shop app. Like your new order has been received. It'll be coming. and
It's
you're like,
basically smaller DTC, or not just DTC, but like smaller e-commerce
yeah.
competing with the
big boys.
ease of Amazon
It's like,
through an external provider.
it's bundling it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's awesome. Anyways.
Safety was a thing.
Oh,
Safety
dude.
apparently was a thing.
Yep.
Crime. The vibes of malls changed from like the place where you would express yourself as a teen to more restrictions and rules and regulations
Totally.
and limitations. And then obviously changing youth culture, where like
Mhm.
hanging out is now happening online.
Yeah.
Totally.
So there's lots of other like conversation starters, but let's pause here. Like how, like, Jesse, you are the only American person in this room. Simon, you grew up, from my understanding, in a culture that also has malls.
Tons.
What are your guys' first impressions or reactions?
Deep nostalgia. Like I actually love the concept of malls. I really do. And I think there are still some good ones in the US today. And we can get into it, like in terms of what I think is enjoyable about the experience, because it's less about, for me anyway, it's just like when I was a teenager, it's not about, it's not transactional. I'm not going there to shop. And I never
No,
was, not as
that's
a
the
teen. And I
thing.
think that's the thing. And I think that's part of where they screwed up the evolution of
100%.
malls, is thinking that it was a shopping destination, and it wasn't.
It's at its best. It's the best third place in the suburbs.
100%.
And
Like,
that's the problem.
you guys know, like we've talked about this a million times. I'm sure I've mentioned it on the pod a million times. You know, I grew up in a very small
Yeah.
town.
Really?
Yeah, very small, super tiny. There was no mall
Yeah.
in my town. There was a mall in another town, but like that was it.
Yeah.
You were either in the creek, in the woods,
Yeah.
at the high school,
Yeah.
or at the mall. And like when I think like dating culture began at the mall. Like
Yeah.
as a teenager in
Oh, I took many girlfriends to movies in the mall.
At the mall.
How
cinema.
many exactly, Simon?
Not many. Not as many as I'd like, but many.
yeah, like 14-year-old Simon, just like back-to-back dates
It was
at the
like,
mall.
and like, yeah, it was like a place you went to.
Yeah.
There was like somewhere along the lines, and this is like, I can't really explain it. Like there was, with a lot of malls, when you mentioned the crime thing, it wasn't the crime thing, but it was the like less than great experience thing in a way. Like I was like, I remember as a teenager being like, I could take a girl and we'd go out to literally like eat somewhere at the fast food in the mall, then go to the movie theater.
Dude, the mall food court.
Mall food court was amazing, right?
Next level.
It was awesome. And it was like part of the experience. And then you'd like walk around all the weird shops that you can't normally get access to.
I think what's interesting about that is as a teenager, or let's say as someone who doesn't yet have their driver's license.
Sure.
Yeah.
The mall gives you a sense of autonomy, or it used to, when it sort of had, yes, to your point, and then they started attaching restaurants to the mall, and there could be a restaurant, a movie theater, a whole mall that you could walk around, place to run into your friends that felt like you were living in a neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You could be walking down the mall on a Friday night and bump into a whole group of friends. And I think there was a sense of independence and autonomy as a teenager that you couldn't get anywhere else. And it's interesting to me because I think we were talking about this recently. that's stripped away from teenagers today now more than ever because everybody's constantly watching like what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder if like that's one of the roles of the mall is sort of this safe sense of independence and autonomy.
There's two things you're touching on, and one of which is way harder and one of which is an assumption. The way harder one is like there's a cultural shift that you would need to change to bring people back to the mall. And I'm like, I'm not ready to go there yet.
Yeah.
And then there's just how can you make the mall that place to people again?
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Because like, I mean, we live in LA and I think I've spoken to both of you and just about everyone know about how awesome the Century City Mall is.
The best.
Like it's awesome. Like I'm not a big shopper. And when I go there, it has both the incredible ability of making me go there for no particular reason and then somehow making me find a way to spend some money.
Yeah.
Do you know that I did not expect to spend?
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like that. And I think like if you crack the code on like profitable malls, it's probably some combination of
totally.
that. You know what I mean? And so like, it's like, there are examples that I can see out there that I'm like, oh, they did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we were just in Dubai and I spent a ton of time in the Dubai mall and that one is completely a different thing than anything I've ever seen in the world. You know what I mean?
There was like a pre-mall to get to the real mall.
To the mall. And then there's also like the thing that they did there that like got annoying when you're walking around it, but credit to them is like they make
you get lost.
Well, I wasn't even thinking that. You get lost, but they make it so social friendly. Like there was, how many times were we like trying to get past people taking a photo of themselves in front of something?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
An aquarium.
And I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but I'm like, for this era, that is so smart.
Yeah, that's
you know
very
what
interesting.
I mean? Like
social media friendly.
They made it so social media friendly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also that this one is like, it's a landmark of Dubai.
It's a landmark.
Yeah.
If you go
it's
to
a
Dubai,
landmark. And you can't do that across.
You're going to go see the Palm.
Yeah.
You're going to go see the Marina. You're going to go see the Old Town by the canal up there. And you're going to go see the Dubai Mall and obviously the Burj. But you see what I mean? It's part of like, it's strangely part of the attractions. Right?
Yes.
I don't know why I'm saying strangely. It's really interesting when you grow up in Europe, especially in France, because we're very judgmental. You're like,
what?
You didn't notice?
This is shocking.
Some real insights today.
It's when I remember first moving outside of France to Hong Kong, which is a very, very mall focused culture. Lots of high-end malls, lots of like crazy interesting malls where you like walk through mazes and you find like electronic gems.
Yeah.
Like it's big mall culture. Malls in entire buildings. Anyway, the first thing that you get as a European, maybe French, but I think European, because in Europe, like the commerce since the dawn of time has happened in downtowns and city centers. Yeah. And malls have never really found their way.
Right.
Like they have at some point in the 90s, but it wasn't really malls and they struggled a little bit. And you still have a little downtown with local retail. And that's the way you go and shop. You go and walk. Now retail's not local anymore, but that's still the experience. So moving abroad, there's a lot of judgment about, I need to go to a mall to shop. And now obviously it's been like almost 30 years. So I'm like, it's not just a time thing. Now I'm getting to appreciate the experience of malls much more.
Right.
Like much, much more than I used to.
Can we, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I'd be curious to talk a little bit about the benefit of malls. Like what do we think is good? Like we talked a little bit about for teens, at least back in the day, maybe not as much now, but this sense of autonomy, independence, freedom that you get from the mall.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious to talk about like what other benefits of the mall. What's the benefit of the mall?
I mean, hard benefits are just like a concentration of people willing to spend money. So you obviously build a very, if done correctly, you've created a landmark for capitalism, which is helpful. Okay,
benefit to an industry, but I meant human benefit.
Human benefit.
Okay, sorry.
No. It's a good clarification because obviously lots of benefits to
like
the industry.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I actually think it's interesting. Like, do you guys know the term mall walkers?
Yes.
I don't.
So at least how I know it, it's like became there was this whole era of elderly people walking the mall for exercise. Like they would sort of like speed walk, or they're not shopping necessarily. Maybe they had something to get. Maybe they're getting lunch there.
People in Canada do it because it's so cold there.
And
so in the winter,
I was going to say, when I lived in Chicago, it was a really big thing. Also during like frigid cold, what are you going to do? You go to the mall. Like it's something to do, and you walk. And it was a way to get exercise. And they kind of got dubbed like mall walkers. And it sort of became like a bit of not a cool thing. I mean, it was sort of attached to an elderly crowd, but I find it really interesting because I'm like, this is actually a really positive benefit that we sort of didn't embrace as a society, which is the exercise, get out of the house. I know exercise sounds dramatic, but when you think about for somebody in their 80s,
totally,
like to have a space, a social space to sort of walk around, it's kind of interesting.
Socializing in general, like concentrating people in clusters in this day and age is probably a good thing to have more of those where that happens. And especially where you can bump into people that like I'm never going to go so far as to say like malls build community, but bumping into strangers and all those interactions aren't a bad thing.
They do build community in lots of areas, I think.
Think so?
Even like, I mean, you guys tell me, but I think it was one of the purposes to me from the outside of suburban sprawling, having a mall in there, because communities stayed like super small in neighborhoods because nobody walks, nobody, you get in a car to go get
it's sort of
a gallon of milk. And then suddenly you bring like plenty of people together at the same time. You get the kids, to your point, together from the same middle school, high school, even though maybe they don't live in the same area. Like, I do think there's a community building component to it at the origins of it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about today.
Go ahead.
Low cost entertainment. Honestly, like I think when a mall is done well, like it is literally like I remember when I had like little kids and we'd go to Century City because it had a climber. We'd stop, you know what I mean? Like it was like a way to keep kids entertained, at least burn some energy,
family,
stimulus, all that sort of stuff.
I don't think that this exists as much anymore. And I think this is also maybe one of the opportunities, but one of the original benefits, I think, of the mall was the element of discovery.
Oh, totally.
Like back to the first thing we were talking about with transaction, I think the beauty of the mall was that slow shopping, browsing, looking around, combing through the racks,
it's like a different behavior,
looking for something and discovering something. And I think not only has like instant e-commerce culture sort of killed that behavior in people, but also now every mall is identical.
No, so, I know.
Like from a store perspective.
It's interesting. The way you describe that feeling really reminds me of the feeling of just shopping. So I don't think that's small. I think that's just because, again, in Europe, you just park your car in some area and then you walk, or you just go outside and get on
downtown
the subway.
New York, you can do that.
But in any place that's not a city, you don't have that outside the mall. I agree. It's shopping, but in most of America, that's happening at the mall.
Yeah.
And then your last point is a big one.
Yeah, it's like, it bums me out.
I know.
Even
the Dubai Mall.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there were a couple in Dubai Mall, maybe the biggest in the world, or maybe, I'm guessing top 5 biggest in the world.
Yeah, it's the biggest.
We found like 2 or 3 stores were like, oh, that's interesting. That's cool. Organized differently. Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to find this back in LA. Oh,
but most are the same.
Most are the same.
Yeah. It's a bummer.
Yeah. Like even Abbot Kinney here.
Totally.
In the last decade.
It's become exactly, it's just the inside out mall. And you're like, I think it's a huge, I think it's why you see, I think we talked about this on an episode recently, but why you see younger generations shopping through WhatsApp, through like personal shoppers.
Because it's finding cool stuff.
Because it's finding cool individual stuff. And so like if WhatsApp is like becoming the mall, Depop.
Yeah. My daughter's into thrifting now. Yeah.
Yeah, not just yes, totally, yeah.
Thrifting, many reasons. There's many reasons.
Looking for something different. People are looking for something different.
Yeah. Yes.
And the mall is the same.
Very homogenous. But it's part of the problem is, I think, the way malls are structured, right? Like I if you're a mom and pop shop it's a lot harder to get into a mall.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Which makes it just sort of inherently kind of part of what it is.
I actually went to Century. I know I think I should have a lobotomy for this, but I went to Century City Mall on Black Friday this year.
I went to Best Buy on Black Friday.
Okay, so we should both be lobotomized, but I hadn't been to Century City in a minute, and I don't know when they put this up, but for the holidays in the middle, they put this little pop-up market of those, like, there's like 10 little stores. A lot of them were actually Japanese themed, like these cool little, and they called it like the gift market. Have you've seen it?
I've seen it. I've never walked through it.
Same.
Yeah.
It was actually all things I'd never seen before.
Really?
Yeah, that's
and I was
cool.
like, oh my God, like this is so cool. Like, oh, this little wallet. And like they were like little, they felt like mom and pop gifts.
That's cool.
And I found it was such a surprise and delight experience in the middle of the mall to experience a retail experience that felt like something I'd never seen before.
What can I give you? Can I give you a take that isn't hot, particularly hot, but just a thought?
A cold take.
Which is
a lukewarm take.
Lukewarm take. Tepid bath at best. Which is malls didn't go away. This is just kind of the end of a 90s mall bubble. You know what I mean? Like right now, it's not that people stopped going to malls. They stopped going to those specific types of malls because this is sort of the inevitable end of what happens is like all these things get built up. They're all built in this one certain way. They're all built a certain style. And then everyone gets tired of them. As much as you can try and reformat them and all that sort of stuff, they are what they are. And that's actually the problem. People still like going to malls. They just don't want to go to that mall.
To like the dying original
The
mall.
like 90s looking dark mall, which I think
there's two things in what you're saying. I think there's like there was a bubble. That's fact one.
Yeah.
And the experience hasn't evolved with the generation. I think there are two different things. So I would argue the bubble, I'm not entirely sure because there was an actual I would say, yes, there was a bubble, but there's also something that replaced the experience with e-commerce. Like in other bubbles, sometimes it's just point. Like, there's just too much.
Yeah, totally.
But the experience hasn't evolved with with time, I think is a very good point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is something I don't think we've talked about yet, but what's the role of mall when there is e-commerce?
Well, it kind of goes back to what we were saying of like,
I love that question.
Yeah, it's because you're right. Like it's pointless to reinvent what was, or I mean, to bring back what was as at least as the role of what it was doing. So it's a very interesting question. Like you have to assume that e-commerce will still rule.
Yeah.
So then what is the role of the mall?
Yeah.
Guys, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about drinking. Right.
Yeah.
We talked about America having a drinking problem. Haha. But basically, how do we bring back drinking culture and the benefits of drinking?
Yeah.
But there's similarities in there. Because like if drinking helps you socialize and meet people, and how do you blend those two conversations? Like, but to answer your e-commerce,
Right.
yes, Jesse, exactly what I'm saying.
Get drunk at the mall?
Yes.
With friends
Get drunk
and strangers?
at the mall.
A pub in the middle
Bars
of the mall.
in the mall.
Just a pub in the middle. A pub that's open all around, where it's raining above the pub because that's the only way for people to go get drunk.
Yep.
And you make
It's raining above the pub.
Or snowing.
And you make it, or snowing, and you make it a social place where people gather and have drinks.
I mean, I actually think this was a strategy back in the day. I mean, yes, like putting restaurants in malls made sense for a lot of reasons. People spent more, they spent more time there. Like you were hungry after you shop, whatever. But all those restaurants had alcohol, and alcohol makes you spend money.
100%.
Anytime that I like need to buy something and I'm not in the mood to buy something, or I've like tried a couple things on and I'm like, ugh, nothing looks good. I hate this. I go have 2 glasses of wine and I'm like, let's go.
This
Everything
is great.
I look amazing. But yes, I think that's a great idea. Pub in the middle where it's raining.
In the middle. Like we can play God. We don't know laws.
No.
Have you ever seen a mall that's where the restaurant is a center of the experience, not on floor 7 in the back corner?
That's interesting.
It's like build it around food.
Right.
which is also
that's
usually a
that's
little more
interesting.
affordable. And then the rest comes as the rest of the experience. Like you literally go as a food destination. You go to drink. You go to eat with your friends. And there's also all the stores.
That's very interesting because obviously the current version is the reverse.
Yes.
It's built around the shops, and then they added restaurants and food, but making it like a
food destination.
A food destination.
That's interesting.
I mean, it's kind of like it. I do see it happening.
Yeah.
I mean, you see famous chefs having restaurants in mall. Again,
Totally.
like sometimes we're talking so much about higher end malls.
I know.
And so, but I think if you look at what they've done to bring things like Eataly to a mall, which is like creates a whole different experience, which also, by the way, is partially a shopping experience. That's why Eataly is so fascinating.
Yeah.
But how do you bring that concept to Heartland malls? And that's where you like when you stick the pub in the center of the mall.
Yes.
It feels really interesting to me.
Cozy Inn in the middle of Century City Mall.
Do you think?
I don't think Century City
Dive
needs
bar.
a revamp, but
No, but like Fox Hills Mall. Have you been
No.
there? It's actually pretty cool, but it's like it's a proper mall experience. It's not the luxury mall experience.
Yeah.
And they
Well,
have
this is-
lots of like those small. That's kind of why I love going there. It's a very traditional mall. You have Best Buy, you have the Gap, you have like, it's a little younger. So you have Zoomies and you have some like retailers like that where like the teenagers want to go and actually buy stuff. But also in the middle, you'll have like the cool kid who's here to fix your sneakers
Right.
for $15.
yeah.
And that takes me back to Asian malls, actually. Like where you have, obviously you have super high-end luxury malls with like Hermes and everything. But most malls, like middle class, it's where you find the best deals. It's where you'll find like on floor 16 in the back corner, the family who's been selling TVs for the last 25 years and they'll have the best deal on TV on the market, right? That's like in Bangkok, in Hong Kong, you have those things. And it reminded me of that when I saw those, kind of like just super small businesses.
It is more like the market.
Yeah,
the
it's
bazaar.
more like the market where you
Yeah.
feel like you're going to find a good deal.
That's interesting.
It's really good. It's really appealing, I think.
Well, is it because you feel like you're finding something?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm getting served, like the example, I'm getting served like services to ship my sneakers. I'm going to spend like $30 to give them a little shine. I'm like, I'm not going to spend $30 for a pair of shoes that cost $90 like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it makes no sense. And then you go there and you have like the college kid who's trying to make a bit of money, who's doing it for like $12.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's part of like an interesting social experience that some malls are trying to like execute against.
What you're talking about that's interesting, where my head went to too, is that like, what if malls were a way to get out of your own bubble? And part of the problem right now with malls right now is that they are their own bubble, which is you're going to go in and you're going to find, I can close my eyes and pick probably 5 of the restaurants in the food court in 90% of malls, and close my eyes and pick 10% of the clothing stores in malls. But if malls became a place where it's like, because I think that's what they were when you were younger, is like, you were like, I wonder what the cool new fashion is.
Yeah.
I should go to the mall to see what it is.
It was a discovery thing.
But we talked about that. But back to your question, you can't, what role is it going to play if e-commerce is playing the shopping role?
Because
you could play with discovery, but you would have to reinvent what stores are at the mall.
That's
to your
what
point
I-
about
that's
Which
what I'm
question?
suggesting.
Clarify the question.
Yeah.
The e-commerce question. What was it?
Because what you would want
No, well-
to that, let me use e-commerce as like a jumping off point, is what you would want is you'd want the mall to be a place where you're suddenly seeing things from stores that you're like, I wouldn't have gone there on my own.
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
You
go.
No, go ahead.
Some malls have like clearly started to keep some space just for pop-ups.
Yeah.
Like how do you drive repeat visits is like through store rotation.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to have planned store rotation if it's not a pop-up.
Right.
And so that's,
Yeah.
how do you increase that? So because otherwise, even the malls, high-end malls, you don't necessarily go that often. Like
No.
it's still a destination. You see what I mean? So you'd need to just find a way for the experience to be surprising.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what like a lot of malls, at least some of the ones that I've seen that are not like the high end ones, but a lot of them are introducing. I mean, I guess this is kind of what you're saying with like it's the college kid fixing your shoes, but more than that, like they're blending experiences with shopping. Like there's like a Gap, a Journeys, Old Navy, and then a tattoo shop. And then after the tattoo shop, there's like 5 more stores. And then there's a VR experience. And you're like, okay, I don't know if it's working.
But it's interesting.
Like I see how we got there. I see how you're like, exactly to your question about how if we're going to live in a world of e-commerce, what is the role of the mall?
Yeah.
That's I see the logic.
You need to make it an experience.
Yeah.
The mall stores are a bit of a problem.
Can you unpack that? And can I ask double down on the question?
Sure.
When we were just introducing the subject, when I was introducing the subject, you said, "Oh, I have a lot of hot takes on that." When we started talking about the death of the anchor stores, So can you
this is not me, so I don't want to take credit for this.
Take all the credit.
It's my neighbor.
Here's a really brilliant thought I have.
Dave Brody, and he said something that was like, he said it in passing, and then it's one of those things I thought about later, and I was like, I think he's right. Where he was like, the death of the mall was when there was no more record stores or bookstores, because that's where people would go to hang out.
Just to hang out.
And I was like, yeah, maybe. And then I literally woke up in the morning, like taking a shower for really 5 days in a row, being like, I think he's right.
It's so true.
It's like literally in the optimization of transactions at malls. And I get it. Like I own a Gap franchise. I need to make sure it's successful. So I'm going to do this here. I don't know if Gap's a franchise.
I literally thought that you were just telling us that you owned a Gap franchise.
No.
And I was like,
but like, if you are, you're like, I need to you're using the rules of optimization for purchase.
Yeah.
Rather than optimizing for loitering.
You know, what's interesting about the bookstore and the record store in the mall? It's like the mall, before subcultures had a place on the internet, before fandoms and subcultures had places on Reddit
Tower
and
Records.
whatever, I feel like it was such outcast is the wrong word, because I don't like the negative connotation to the idea that if you were like a music nerd, you weren't cool. But like in the early 2000s, like if you were going to Hot Topic, you were a certain type of person. If you were hanging out at the bookstore, you were a certain type of person. But it was a space for people to like engage in their interests and to have that, like the freedom of either social or solo, like exploration within their interests. And it's really interesting to me.
I think that's amazing. The bookstore and record store thing. What other types of stores do people go to just to, I don't know, there's a word in French, it's called flâner, which is just basically just means like
fart around.
Yeah. It's just a little more poetic.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds better in French.
Yeah. And it means something different.
No, but like
exactly. Just so what are other stores? Because I think maybe they do, because I've never been I never worked for, I mean, I've had mall operators as clients, but never worked in operations. But I think what mall operators should do is you just find those 3-4 niches that are going to struggle from a commercial standpoint, but are going to drive a shit ton of foot traffic, and you give them an amazing deal.
Yeah.
So say you had, like, we went to a bookstore for lunch to buy some gifts to our partners. And when you're in there, you literally want to hang out for like an hour and a half. And
yeah,
you have to look at the clock. You have to look at the clock and say, "Oh shit, we got to go back." It's like, and people do that in record stores and bookstores. What are other ones like that? If you have a list of 4 or 5,
this is actually, you've connected a dot for me, which is I would actually make the argument luxury stores are better at that than like normal level, because
that's fair.
They understand that we need to merchandise things to look fancy. Most people who are coming in here are coming to look, not buy. And so they've built an environment and an experience that supports that, which also might really lead into the fact why luxury malls do better than normal malls too, because there's more places to hang out and just check out stuff.
Yeah.
I
Less
think,
volume is needed to find
less
a return.
volume.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think novelty food stores do that really well. Like it's actually, I think we talked about it, but it's like what Eataly is really interesting. Because Eataly, you can go and eat stuff, but actually most of Eataly is walking around buying
oh, really?
like,
look at this crazy cheese.
I have
cheese,
never gone to Italy without buying anything. Have you? Like just walked around, and I've been to bookstores and many times walked out, no books.
Yeah, I have gone to Italy and,
Yeah?
and like looked
That's
at.
so
I've eaten
interesting.
there and not purchased
Yeah,
anything
exactly.
and then left.
Yeah, but you've eaten there. You consumed something
I've
from Italy.
I've looked
I like
at
it.
like just all the different balsamic vinegars. I've looked at all the oils. I'm like, oh, this pasta is like
It's $22. Why
yeah,
is that?
exactly.
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
here's some like
And you walk out, you haven't bought anything. It's never happened to me for a food store.
yeah.
Yeah, I usually go with a purpose, but it's I have a hot take on Italy.
Go on.
Completely unrelated.
Go for it.
Did you notice they're opening in all of the airports?
No, but
They're coming.
thank God.
That's smart.
I think it's the slow death of Italy. I think it's a terrible
You
strategy.
think it's a bad idea?
Oh.
Interesting.
I think it's the slow rise of airports.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
I'm like, yeah, give me that less of God knows whatever, like corner market bistro.
No, I agree, but let's see. Let's
see
what
what
quality.
happens.
Yeah.
Check back in 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, this wouldn't work for a number of reasons and a number of different companies who don't have this sort of model. But if you had if we agree that e-commerce is here to stay, I think we do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? We agree that you need to turn it into a third place. The mall, you need to turn it into a third place. How do you build a store? Let's pretend you're Gap. Just any other, if you don't like Gap, we can pick another one. How would you build a store that supported your e-commerce thing by letting people just come and hang out at it?
Yeah,
Like
that's
for
cool.
example, like instead of building a Gap store, would you build a Gap experience where what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and embed the lifestyle and the brand idea of what Gap represents into this space. We're going to have some stuff you can try on, but you know what? We might not have your size, but you can order from a portal right there. But it's more of just a cool spot to hang out. So you get a sense of kind of what we stand for.
Totally. Increasingly, that's even what any retail is becoming, right? It's like even the brands that started just at DTC now opening retail just for an experience.
Yeah.
As a marketing line item versus a revenue driver. But I don't know how I would do it.
I don't know. And I don't know if it's feasible to your point of like the Cincinnati suburb mall. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's going to pop up everywhere and they're going to find a business model through it unless there is some form of purchase still involved.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking about, I don't know how to connect this dot, but I keep thinking about how, e-commerce was great for convenience, but there are also many downsides to it. I think we talked about it a bit on the retail episode, but like you at some point, I think what's starting to happen is people are using e-commerce to search, and then they want to go to the store to try on and experience and decide whether they want to purchase, because people really hate buying stuff, trying it on, realizing it doesn't work, and then having to ship it back.
Yeah.
And I don't know how either like you embrace that ecosystem where like the mall is no longer the place of discovery, it's actually the place of experience, and e-commerce is the place of discovery, and you trust the prediction that the sort of model's going to flip.
Yeah.
Or you try to solve other problems. Like I think obviously Amazon bought Whole Foods, which we don't need to get into, but when you could start returning Amazon packages at Whole Foods, it was like the legitimate game changer. And I'm trying to think about.
It's also created a different can of worms though. Like that line's huge.
For you? Oh, not at mine.
No.
We just walk in, drop it off,
Yeah.
good to go.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
see you
Yeah.
later, grab an apple.
But so
Like-
you're going the convenience route, right? You're saying, how do we leverage mall as a convenience.
I think I said like
tool.
3 different things, which is why I'm like, I don't know how to connect those dots. But it's like you either need the mall to play within the e-commerce ecosystem and think about the relationship between them, and either the mall becomes some sort of physical convenience, or it actually does become the place of purchase and e-commerce becomes the place of discovery.
Yes. I think it's probably a mix of both.
Probably.
But I don't know. I'm obsessed with obviously the experience component.
Yeah.
Like, you could do themed malls.
Theme malls is interesting.
You could do, and we can unpack that maybe, but you could do, like you talked about, low cost entertainment, I think at the beginning of our conversation, where your family goes and there's a climbing wall. Like, how do you multiply that? Like, what is low cost entertainment? Or how do you even leverage some of the stores, but put their experience more front and center?
Yeah.
Like, what if you could take, I'm not sure it's interesting, what if you could take a Soul Cycle or a Peloton class in the middle of the mall with your friends?
Hell no.
Do you
Something else? Like, what if you could have a cooking class from like that little cooking thing
that
there is, but in the middle of the mall?
In the middle of the mall.
How do you use the entire space?
Yeah.
Some malls have crazy beautiful spaces, even if it's from the 90s.
Yeah.
Like the space is like, it's big and it's massive ceiling, and you have those old school escalators. You see what I mean?
Oh, I love an old school escalator.
Like, how do you bring the experience at the center of the mall as opposed to just in the shops?
This doesn't answer your center of the mall, because I still think a raining bar in the middle of the mall is
Bring the raining bar.
The best idea. But Simon, when you were talking about like nobody wants to go back to the decrepit 90s mall, I was thinking that we were going to talk about how like everything old becomes new again.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm like, and you were talking about theme malls, Roman. And I'm like, I think it would be so cool to rebuild the mall of the 80s. Like I don't want to go to I don't want to go to the declining mall right now, because it's
the one built in the 80s now.
Right. But if you built the mall as if it looked brand new in the 80s, build me the 80s mall the day it opened.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah.
That's
fantastic. The Hawkins Mall.
The Hawkins Mall. Yeah. You could you could get into the whole world of entertainment, but you could also just play, because I think what's interesting is like everything is cyclical. We've talked about that. Everything old becomes new, but also fashion in particular is cyclical. Yeah. So you're blending two things that like, we know 90s fashion has been majorly in for the last 5 years. If we had 90s malls built up, brand new 90s malls built up around 90s fashion, you're like, I'm so in on that.
And then you could have stores do throwback themed stores.
Yeah,
like they need to be a part of it.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you're Gap, if you're opening, you need to open up your 90s stores where it's all like jeans from 90210 and like all that.
And they don't even
have,
but what's so interesting to me is like, that's what Gap jeans are right now. Like every Levi's is like all the 90s, like cuts, everything. So it's like, I mean, I think it could be cool. I think
it gives them a reason to pop.
Totally. And they can play with their vintage brand. Like they could create spin-off brands that only sell vintage items. Yeah. We could bring back dead brands that like don't exist anymore. The whole, like, I think it's not only theme and it's not only experience, but there becomes like an element of surprise now baked into it that you're like, because what I don't think it should be is like mall theme park.
No.
But it's actually
it's an actual mall.
It's mall.
Yeah. But you also give like, I mean, what's interesting for retailers too is you give retailers an opportunity, like it's a marketing opportunity for them. You know what I mean? Like we're opening up in the 90s mall. Check out our 90s themed play like, on this. And
do you guys remember when, I don't know, 2 years ago or something, Saved by the Bell? Remember that show?
I went to that pop-up.
Did you go to the pop-up?
Yeah.
And so they did a huge pop-up where they like built the actual restaurant. I don't remember. Yeah. Thank you, Simon. Big Saved by the Bell fan. I had no idea. And it was
very popular.
At least from my perspective, one of the more popular, successful.
It was hard to get a reservation.
You could not get in. I think they had it run longer than they planned.
Yeah, they did.
It was and
it
I mean, yes, we know nostalgia is in, but I also think that it was an experience that people really wanted to be real today.
Well, that's also
not just like a throwback.
It's really cool. It's also something that you could do to existing malls. Do you know what I mean? Which I think is what we're talking about a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like you could do a renovation on a mall and go like, now we're making this a proper 90s mall.
Totally. Like when I think about these like sort of rundown 80s malls in like, you know, the outskirts of wherever,
Yeah.
I think if you renovate it to be modern, you probably miss the mark.
Right.
Because like you would have to like flatten it and start over.
Yeah.
But if you take the bones of it and bring it back to its like 80s or 90s heyday.
Yeah.
It's
something new.
There's something new.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
I would spend much time spent.
I think we should rebrand the malls for the next generation and call it real world internet.
Well, what do you consider?
Yeah.
I mean, this is I don't want to go too far down. I'm going to give you an example.
It is the real world internet.
What do you like? What is a mall? Like by that I mean like how
many minutes into this conversation?
Okay, let me give you an example. Is when we were in Dubai, we went to Dubai Mall. That mall is a mall.
Yeah.
That's undisputable. We also went to a collection of shops in a little area that kind of looked like a bunch of shipping containers. Do you consider that to be a mall?
I don't know.
I do. I would say it's a mall.
Okay.
I don't.
No? What makes it not a mall?
I don't know. Now I'm confused. I think
retail destination. That's
That's
basically
your
my
reason.
mall.
I would say that one probably not. I can't remember how it was called, but Al Sakir. I don't know. It was really geared towards creativity and arts, and lots of the places didn't sell anything. There was even a skate
lot of
park.
art exhibits.
Yeah. So I would, my brain would classify it as not mall, but I get why you could.
Skate park's just like an ice rink. Like it's just another thing that they
Totally.
have
Yeah.
at malls.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
It's
why
like what
didn't I?
said
Why
about
don't I?
bring some things that are just being
Yeah.
traffic driving as a
Because to me, like one thing just as we've been talking about this is like, and I know this doesn't solve for the 90s. How do you figure out what to do with all these 90s malls? But like, there are malls you can build that are just a lot more geared to a specific audience. And right then and there, like to your point, like what did they do that was so like groundbreaking? They decided to make it a little more targeted towards people with a want for culture and art.
Okay, that's
it.
actually interesting.
You know what I mean?
A mall audience strategy is actually a very interesting
You
idea.
know what I mean? Instead of being mass.
Yes.
No, not mass malls, but like we're going to make smaller malls, but this one is going to be for this group of people.
Ooh.
Because
You're talking about a fandom mall strategy,
because
and I like it.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it brings me back to the conversation we had about movie theaters when we were like, how do you how do you change the experience leverage the experience to reach different types of audiences? How do you show live games, live football games, even if the lights on and people are screaming and getting drunk in a movie theater? What's the equivalent of that for a mall?
Yeah, exactly.
I think you said it. It's the bar.
It's the
raining bar in the middle.
It's raining
no, but
bar.
I really love that idea because it also might even be a productive. I'm saying this with zero knowledge, but like a productive real estate strategy.
Yes,
because you don't need to build gigantic thing that serves everybody and all the needs. It's like, and if you're building. It's more curated.
Well, that
and
one,
that's kind of interesting.
That one was like a great example because like it had a bookstore that sold like limited edition versions of like Kurt Vonnegut first prints, and you know what I mean? Like it was like a very specific bookstore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you were like, okay, but it's a bookstore.
Yeah.
It had a coffee shop in the
middle.
middle.
It was awesome.
I farted around in there to use the French term. You know what I mean? Like it was exactly, you know what I mean? It was exactly like what I did. It was just a different interpretation of it.
You're not only offending a country, you're offending an entire culture. Like all the Francophiles in the world are offended with you comparing farting and flânner.
I mean, I am starting to get confused on the two words.
You're not making friends here, Simon.
Like luxury.
Yes, I do know what you
Luxury
mean.
malls are sort of like the best example we have of like mass niche.
Yeah.
I think right now.
Yeah.
But like if you went after like this one is going to be the cultural mall, record stores, bookstores, interesting oddities.
That's the one that doesn't sell anything.
You know what I mean? Like you're right. We need some work. My design needs some work.
I hear you. I hear
It's
you.
work in progress.
Like it is.
Yeah.
There's
It's really
something
cool.
interesting about that. Then suddenly, like it's like, I'll give you another example. Is like my daughter absolutely is overjoyed to go to Little Tokyo, which is essentially almost, I could make an argument, a mall.
Oh no! Come on.
I'm not saying like that little area inside
Little
it.
Tokyo, not Osaka.
Not
Yes,
Osaka.
okay.
Little Tokyo, which
yeah.
is basically like it's themed to look like,
it's
you know what I mean?
Japan. Yeah.
And it has like a bunch of the
Little
stores, and it
literally
like, and she loves going to it. Why?
So
'Cause
do
it's
I.
specific to something she's super stoked on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
you go.
well, she gets that autonomy and independence
Exactly.
of like walking around, exploring. Like, that's really cool.
It's in Asia. You have lots of themed malls per vertical.
Interesting.
Electronics mall.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Fashion mall, but not like like local fashion mall. You'll have you'll find that it is now that I think of it, it's pretty interesting, and they're like old school. They're like basically buildings.
I want a mall that's all candy stores.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That'd be so fun.
That would be
that is cool.
Awesome.
That is cool.
International
candy.
Candy
that's pretty cool.
extravaganza.
Yeah.
Give me like a loyalty program. Give me a passport. Let me like. Oh wait. Actually, mall loyalty programs is a weird, interesting.
That is
thing.
a weird, interesting thing.
Doesn't it exist?
Well, like they
Not
do.
really.
No?
Like you'd have like a movie theater like loyalty program at the mall, but I don't think there's like a.
But also, like when you think about like who are the big mall builders, like Westfield and such, right? Like you suddenly could you could completely rebrand what that developer is meant to create.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh no, we're in entertainment. We create entertainment franchises.
Yeah.
Or we're a special interest builder when we build complexes dedicated to special interests or something like that.
So cool.
I actually think as much as malls have a reputation for food courts in the US, I think they're doing a terrible job at it. Again, sorry, I'm like on my rabbit hole on Asian malls.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you go like in Thailand.
Oh my God, the best food I've
Bangkok,
ever had.
The food courts in the malls,
Just ridiculous.
it's just ridiculous.
The one in the Dubai Mall,
It's-
the Chinatown food court in Dubai's Chinatown section of the Dubai Mall was very good. I had some
But
food there.
it is an actual destination
Yeah,
where you're going to be like food in American malls have been like, okay, let's just make sure people can get fed so they can keep shopping.
Yeah.
Now make it or switch it to make it a real destination.
But don't you think that's the
bring
case?
in like small, do like who would Jonathan Gold bring to a mall
Yes.
in LA? Like you want the best taco from like that strip mall. You want the little like Vietnamese noodle from the strip mall from Little Saigon in Orange County.
Yeah, but
you
like
you see
that's
what I mean?
I don't know. Like is that
That's like time out.
But is that a
Yeah.
viable heartland strategy? I don't know if people will care. I don't know.
Let me give you a flip, which is like, and this would be very interesting to me, which is like, we got the best hot dog place from Chicago, and we got the best X thing from New York.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, totally. You make it Yeah, I would buy that. I think the idea of like, yeah. I think that would be very cool. Like making it almost
It doesn't need to be too crazy exotic. It just needs to feel like, I think what we're kind of touching on too a little bit, I think too, is like the problem with malls right now is frankly, a lot of them have been so optimized for either like purchase or thing that there's not a lot of experience. There's not a lot of lovely merchandising, and there's not a lot of like authenticity. Like I don't feel like I discovered something new at the mall anymore.
Totally.
And that's part of the problem.
I think what you made me think about, and it took my brain a second to think of the reference, but why do people love Vegas? Right. And it's not. That's not true. Okay. Unproductive.
Do you see Vegas is struggling?
Okay. Look, sure. But every time I'm there, there's a
my kids love it.
Bajillion freaking people. So maybe they're struggling because they built too much shit. But anyway, more importantly, I think there are a lot of people that want to experience many different things within the comfort of not having to actually go to all of those places. No. I mean, yes, but I'm saying like, hey, I can experience like
a little bit
of like, oh, the Paris hotel. Like, it's like I'm at Paris. Oh, there's a fake Eiffel Tower here. And like, people literally flock to that because it's like take Epcot, right? They put all the different food from around the world. It's like, there's a whole lot of people that, I mean, it's efficient, but you get to experience many places and things without actually having to go to all of those places. And so when you're talking about pulling in like the best pizza from New York, the best hot dog from Chicago, the best pasta from Italy or whatever. And you're just like, okay, cool. You've just basically built me like the Epcot food court.
And I can discover.
But also like, I don't have to.
Well, that's a good, now you've got me thinking in a different way, which is really interesting, which is like in a world with internet, how do you still make the mall a place of discovery? Yeah. Because if you succeed on that, and food is such a visceral way of discovering you can't replicate online, right? Like I can look at food that I go, that looks really good. I should go to Thailand sometime. Checks price of Thailand ticket, goes, maybe not.
Maybe not.
You know what I mean? But if
they've been promising smell-o-vision for years, but still don't have it.
Still beta.
Still in beta.
But like when you start to create like, and I think that is part of the problem is that it used to be when you went to the mall, you were like, oh my God, they have the record I've been looking for or the book or the shirt or whatever it is. And now it's like, how could you make the experience of going to a mall give people that feeling of like, oh my God, I did that. I found that thing there, or I did that thing there.
Did Canadian malls have Orange Julius?
Yeah. Yeah.
Orange what is Julius, it? Tell me.
Smoothie shop, but it's like pre-smoothie.
It's literally, it was a singular item.
Well, no, they have multiple Juliuses. Okay. To be clear.
But the original
Orange
like,
Julius.
Or imagine like an orange juice smoothie.
Yeah.
Or no, an orange juice slushy, I would say.
It's like smoothies are supposed to be healthy.
It's like Sunny Delight, but as a smoothie.
But tasted almost like a creamsicle more.
Yeah.
And
sounds delightful.
It was like next level.
Orange Julius, Cinnabons, which are still
started
around.
In the mall, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all that stuff.
Every time we do a podcast, I get so hungry.
Yeah, that's good.
Also because we do them at a time
right
when
around
we're hungry.
Time
too. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap us up.
Yeah, do it.
Because we have 2 minutes left.
Perfect.
So it was a fascinating conversation, but I think very early on, we got to the theme of the answer, and then we kind of diverged and then came back to it at the end. And I think the theme was really experience over shopping. Simon said at the beginning, the mall started dying when
I said it.
When I don't know, we'll play back. Did Jesse say it? You tell us. Someone said at the beginning the mall started dying when shopping was prioritized over anything else. And then we talked about the experience without necessarily mentioning experience, but that's essentially everything we talked about is like improving the experience. So it was make it social at heart, at the center. There was the idea about the bar in the middle. We talked about the bar, the food at the end. Again, the social, the discovery component became a big one. Like how do you compete with e-commerce? Well, through discovery of things that maybe you can't find online anymore. If you bring certain like traffic driving, I'll call them retailers, over necessarily selling retailers just as traffic drivers. Talked about the bookstores, the record store. I think this was like a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Like you
Dave
bring that
Brody.
back.
Well done,
Dave
Dave.
Brody. Thanks for the insight. You
You're
got the
hired.
quote. But essentially, if you have a better experience, then you're just going to get shopping for free. So just focus on improving the experience, and then people are going to shop anyway.
Yeah.
That's essentially the takeaway.
Yeah.
My favorite was like Jesse's idea of doing like an 80s or 90s mall. Like 90s is the talk of the town these days. Do a 90s mall. Have Gap bring back products from the 90s in their store. Bring back the food retailers from the 90s. Make the experience. Leverage the architecture that already exists and is slowly dying.
Yeah.
Give it a bit of a fresh, a bit of a rejuvenation, and then keep those neons and all of this, and just make the experience, the floors, make it 90s. So it's all about the experience. And when you start reframing it that way, like you can have like a million ideas on how to get people interested in it. The thing I love too, and I'll finish on that, is the audience bit.
Yeah, I
that
love
you
that.
guys lived on for a bit. It's
that.
like, okay, let's do an audience strategy for malls and have like different malls for different types of audiences.
So good.
So anyway, the question, Jesse, did we crack it?
100%.
Simon.
There was something that we got to at the end, and it was at the start, I said, like, I was like, there's one nut I'd like to crack and one nut I don't want to crack yet. And the nut I didn't want to crack was like, what's the state of society right now? And how do you actually change that?
Yeah.
And we started talking about it at the end. We started talking about what are people looking for. And I think we started talking about discovery and what can it be in the replacement of the internet and stuff like that. And then frankly, even going deep on an audience strategy would probably start to answer that. But until you answer that, I think we got a lot of like really interesting, potentially executable ideas, but I would need to feel better about that before I could say we cracked it.
Roman?
I think we did a pretty good job.
Whoa.
Yeah. I think it was, we got, I think if you implement some of what we're still, we can play God. So we have no idea if whatever we're talking about is implementable, but if it is, I think it could drive interest and renew traffic.
Yeah.
Say the words. Say we cracked it.
We cracked it.
Woo!
Wow. Look at that.
That's it. That's the pod.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Crack It in an Hour. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. If you like the show, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you have questions, thoughts, or feedback, shoot us an email at hello@crackitpodcast.com or on Instagram @crackitpodcast. Music done by Michael Anastasi, cover art shot by Mick Mint, and all things audio and video taken care of by Nathan Nash. See you next time.